Yeah. So Anthony, how's he doing the week he's been back?
He's been good. He's been great. He's been generating some work. Been doing property inspections in every lawn he visits with the guys. He's putting out door hangers, yard signs. It's great.
Good. I feel like everyone needs a little bit of a kick in the butt when the summer hits. People get laxy-daisy, but then it's go time again, you know.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
probably it sounds like you gave yourself your own kick in the butt, but then everyone else needs a kick in the butt, you know.
Yeah.
Um, just get back on point. So also regarding Ant, would you decide on the vacation for him? Is that paid or unpaid?
It's unpaid. So Reach texted me, and
Yep.
he's not qualified for it yet.
Was he aware that that was the case when he went on vacation?
I don't think so. Wasn't even brought up.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, so yeah, the handbook says after a year, so there shouldn't be any. That's pretty clear, right? He is on salary, but there's no paid vacation till after a year, right?
Right.
Okay, so that shouldn't be anything he'd be upset about, right? There's no expectations set prior.
He's mentioned nothing about it.
Um, how's Fuel Genie going?
As far as I know, good. Kevin said his truck wasn't filled up over the weekend, last weekend, but that was the only issue that I'm aware of.
Why wasn't his filled up? They dismissed it.
I guess so, yeah. So Ed asked Melissa to reach out, but I haven't heard anything about it.
So the guys haven't been going to the gas station then?
They have not.
That's great. It's huge.
It is huge.
I think Fuel Genie might be like a franchise. If that's the case, maybe somehow they are making money at those rates. They probably get like bulk fuel price. I'm sure they make money on the fuel too, outside of like the dollar per can, you know?
I think there's a little markup.
Yeah, but even so, even after the markup, like we're still, it's still cheaper for us, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so around, there's another Fuel Genie, but it's in the UK. So maybe it's not a franchise. I don't know. But I guess we'll see. Hopefully they stay in business because it's great for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been the Cycle CPA. I was just I get their emails and stuff because it was one of the accountants I was exploring, and ironically they wrote that article about doubling down on about you're behind on revenue. August you're behind on revenue, which is funny because obviously we're not alone. And I was just watching this webinar in the background, just talking about, company A. They're doing like this case study, company A, company B, and these guys didn't put in paid marketing, and these guys got $300,000 of work from it. So obviously your revenue goes up. They didn't talk about the expense of the marketing, but I do think that, if you put money in the right marketing with a good return, we get more revenue than we paid for marketing, right? That's the idea.
Sure.
So I kind of took a summary from the notes.
In theory, the work will pay for the marketing. I mean, that's
right. But if it's effective marketing,
it's a win-win. Yeah.
Right. So he said, you got two options basically, right? So I just kind of summarized from his blog post here. Double down. So option one is double down to drive revenue, right? Which is what we picked, and option two is scale back, so cutting costs, right? So we basically picked
that too.
Yeah, true. We're a combination, right?
Yep.
So it just kind of reinforces. This is everything we already talked about, but he's suggesting the same things. Just nice to hear it coming from another source.
Sure.
If your team still has capacity and the market supports more sales, it might be time to push harder. So obviously our team has capacity, right?
Yep.
And then reallocating resources to generate as much top line revenue as possible. So reallocating resources, so taking someone like Ant, putting him in the field, or putting him on sales. So we're still the same cost there, but we're reallocating the resources, right?
Right.
So now it's time to increase, not decrease sales, marketing, and sales activities. This is what we're doing, right? So one thing you threw out there that we didn't even talk about was launch a client reactivation campaign. So like marketing to former clients, we didn't really do much of that. But if we look at our former clients list, that's also a resource. I always say like the easiest upsells are obviously to existing clients, which we're obviously already doing a lot of. The second best resource is our former client list, because these are people who have done work with us before. So they're not as good as people who are currently doing work with us, but they're, their credit card file, they've paid us. They've done business with us before. Might be a place we can get some revenue from. And then the third place would be like our leads list, right? That's people who have contacted us interested, but they've never done work with us. So it's like a lower tier, less quality, right? It's the highest quality, easiest sales would be from clients. Obviously, and that know if you guys use like the highest revenue client report, but people who spend a lot of money, you can probably get a little more money from, right? People who haven't spent that much money, you're less likely to get more money from. So the clients list, the highest, sorting it from the highest spending for the past year to the lowest spending, those are the people most likely to spend more money, right? And then and the former clients, they've spent money with us. They're not for some reason, but we might be able to get money out of them. And then the leads list, that's kind of, I wouldn't put a lot of energy there. I mean, maybe new leads, but we're already on that anyway. But they have never booked with us. I don't know why, but it's gonna be harder to squeeze money out of them, right? His other suggestion was promoting last chance fall installs, reallocating cruise tours, invoiceable work, and that's what we're doing, kind of about reallocating resources, right?
Right.
So I thought I'd just highlight that because it's exactly what we're dealing with here. So, and just this idea here, we haven't, the former clients list, I guess it's kind of, we got outside of reinforcing what we already discussed and our plan already was, we didn't discuss our former clients list, but that's a resource that we can use too.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to talk about Rosie. Let's do that after. Our lunch right now is on Sunday. I don't know when we had our last one. It seems like it wasn't that long ago. But when do you want to do that lunch? Right now it's set to. Right now it's on Sunday. Oh wait, second. I'm not seeing it.
I think
Lunch.
this week's gonna be busy. Can we do the week after, this coming week?
August 29th. Oh, Steve's lunch, August 31st. Okay, so sorry, it's set to, yeah, it is on Sunday, sorry.
10th?
Yeah,
Wednesday the 10th,
what are you
maybe?
thinking for this coming week?
Maybe Wednesday the 10th?
Oh, the following week, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, I'll move this to move. Yeah, because you're gonna cram in with the holiday and stuff. All right, so I changed that. Printed newsletter. Oh, but yeah, we're adding former clients here. All right, let's go back. Let's circle back to this stuff. I know we're going to squeeze today, so I want to make sure we get to the important stuff.
Okay.
All right, so the debt sheet. Here's our graph. We bumped up a little bit.
Nice.
29th. We're gonna get payments in, obviously, on the first. So this will go down. It usually does, right? We get our first month payments that we haven't been invoicing for. Our trend line right now is going out to like mid-October. I think in the beginning, when we first started doing this, it was maybe like September, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so going out, it's pushed it back like 6 weeks to the break even. But we haven't, I mean, we've been doing this every single week, and we've just been treading water, right? Like no real progress, just kind of, went up, then we kind of get back to where we were. But 829, we're back to where we were like beginning of July, right? Or a little higher than we're back to where we were on June 20th, right? So it's like that's 3 months, right? But it's taking this whole trend line from when we were really hacking away in the spring. So, I'm hoping, like we talk about every single week, as we get these seeding, you're starting to let a bunch more sales in, right? You're talking about estimates. We're trying to turn up the volume on the marketing a little bit. We should hopefully start hacking away like we were in the spring, right?
Right.
So hopefully we can push this forward. But it feels like we're really close there. Like, just looking at, our checking balance is 8,000. Outside of the money I put in here, and our credit card balance is 10. So like, if you just average these two, we're basically at zero, right? And then we're borrowing a couple bucks from job deposits, $1,000, right? So we have 1,000 in the account. We got 2,000 that we're holding for work we haven't produced. And then, the RBS stuff is slow, obviously. So this right here we've been doing, I had her go back to when we started. But as we're transferring money over, and a lot of it's just our payroll for the RBS stuff, but part of our payroll is coming from RBS, and we're transferring over the portion associated with, basically, we don't have a lot of revenue coming in there. So she's transferring money. So basically, we've taken 4,000 of our profit this year from 855 and thrown it into RBS. So that's what this is about. So the invoice is negative instead of positive, right? So RBS basically owes 855 $4,000 as of today.
Yeah.
So we would have $4,000 more in the bank if we weren't throwing it towards that. And this is excluding last year. Like I dumped like 20 in last year or something, but also the whole transfers and the way we're billing. I'm not sure how accurate that was. what we were charging to RBS for the expenses.
Right.
So anyway, it's not on here. I just have this here reflected.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, and let's see where that came from. That's a big picture, right? So we went up from last week. We went up $5,000, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I just double checked with Ariza. No expenses last week. She hasn't responded to me yet. Does that make sense? We didn't have any job supplies, no projects that we're spending money on.
I do have a diversified bill here that came this week.
Okay, how much is that?
Let me open it right now. It is nice. $258.72. I'll take that all day.
Great. All right, it's not much. So does that make sense? You think back to last week, we didn't buy much materials?
Let me see what the dates are here. So these dates are from 8/12, 8/13, 8/15. Yep, those 3 dates. So quite old.
Okay, so it's actually the week prior to what's on
We
here.
definitely had some products last week, like mulch, but those are obviously 2 weeks old.
Yeah. Oh, so we just haven't gotten the bill for it. But we probably had some expenses last week.
Yep, for sure.
It's annoying that that's like a little bit behind. I thought about presenting like, I don't know if you'd be up for it, but like if we're just like, hey, if we end up paying, $50,000 to diversified this year, we just be like, hey, can we just pay $50,000 a year, instead of these bills that are always behind. But I don't know if that probably would work.
One lump sum.
Yeah, but I don't know if that'd work because we get different amounts of mulch and stuff every year. So I don't know if that'd work for us either. Yeah. Anyway, so this is always a little skewed with the expenses with the diversified bill. Stuff in the credit card always comes through, but unfortunately, he doesn't take credit cards. So
Right. Guy's so old school.
Revenue-wise, a little shy. Hours still shy. No job supplies helped us out this week. Well, supposedly no job supplies. There's probably a couple bucks there missing. Gross profit's a little higher, which is good. We're killing the charge rate that we planned on for this month.
I know.
Yeah, killing it. So, and again, the diversified stuff was all admitted last year. I just kind of spread it out throughout. The expenses are in here, but spread out, for the months that they were missing for when I put it on the budget. This could be off. I'm sure it's off a little bit. But next month, just something to watch out for. We're planning on more hours, which we've already been shy. Right, we've been shy 200 hours, and then we're planning on $98, which should not be an issue because we're already getting 92, and we're not doing any seating or anything, right?
That's right. Correct.
So I'm gonna get busy again. So hopefully we can break that charge rate. Hopefully we can get the hours closer to where we're supposed to be. I imagine we're still not going to hit the hours, but I imagine we're probably going to exceed the charge rate just based on the way we've been trending, right?
Right.
So charge rates, we're killing it with mowing now. This is night and day from what we were doing previously, right? It's like craziness. The mowing charge rates, 95, in the 80s, and prior to these weeks, well, I guess Blue Crew's always doing well because the Hispanic crew.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we were in the 50s, 47, 64. I mean, we're like $30 an hour higher times, if they're working. Anyway, we're obviously, our charge rate has gone up a lot. And this is where it honestly should have been, but, crushing the budget hours, 60, 73, 47, 42, 62, 56. So these guys are marginally beating them, but these guys, Blue Crew crushed the budget hours. Red Crew's revenue bumped up last week because remember there was a short week for them last week. I think they didn't even work full time; they worked like 33 hours each. So there's a lot of potential there. But this is 3 guys in this crew. But looking over here, they still work more hours because they got Red Crew's got even the two main guys worked over 40 hours and they worked 33 the week before. And you said we ran out of projects, right?
Not really. So we booked some work. So
it's how it always goes, man. Like it's always like, we're about to run out of work and we book work. That's how it always goes. It seems like, and maybe a day more hangers and everything picks up again.
Yep.
So yeah, we got 3 guys in the crew. So 3 Hispanic guys. Awesome charge rate. big revenue, right? So that's great. And then Silver Crew, just kind of treading water here. One guy, 78, 86. It's hard for him to beat budget hours, right? He hit budget hours. And these are the numbers we're looking at. The drive time, like I said, these goals. Lewis thinks that he didn't calculate drive time right last year. He hasn't got back to me on that. I got pinged on the Trello card today. But really, just I've known these goals seemed off, right, to where we should be. So they're still beating these goals anyway, even with the inflated drive time here. But also, we have Fuel Genie. There's less. That's definitely helping us on the unbillable time side.
For sure.
Plus one guy, right? A lot of these are one man crews. This is a 2-man crew, right? And these are 1-man crews.
Let me see. 1-man crews right now, green and maroon.
Yeah, and blue is a 2-man crew, and they still beat these guys as 1-man crews.
Wow.
On paper, it does say that a 2-man crew is supposed to get a higher charge rate. Like when I do the math out, but it never works out that way. Maybe when you put Hispanic people into the picture, it actually does work out that way.
Strange. I mean, all the conversations we've had, we've determined that a 1-man crew should get a higher charge rate. That's why we did it. So it's strange that.
It doesn't practice, but like on paper, see, look, 2-man crew charge rate 84.
Yeah.
It's only set to a 1-man crew lawnmower. Yeah, 80 with 1-man crew and 84 with 2-man. It's supposed to go up slightly based on this unbillable time, but nothing ever works exactly in practice. Just people standing around, guys bumping into each other. So in practice, it always seems like the 1-man crews always perform better, but in this instance, not, I guess. But it's also, we're not apples to apples because these are local guys. these are Hispanic guys. So, so yeah, I mean, everything's great except for the top line revenue. This week we did well, but it's our hours. But we're making up for it with our charge rate, and this has been the trend. If we could do both, that'd be awesome, right?
We'd be killing it. Yeah.
Waste log. There's just some miscellaneous stuff in here. It sounds like some holdup because Ant wasn't there, and you're having to do double the stuff last week. Signing off on the timesheet, stuff Ant would do. Putting air in trailer tire. I was wondering about this. She didn't charge them. She didn't put this against their budget hours. But I was wondering about the nail in the tire. Is that something that happened? Maybe it leaked overnight. That's possible, probably, right? Maybe it had air in the tire and overnight it leaked. So that's not their fault, right? Briefing with the crew, and then obviously the red crew to go back to do a power washing. Yeah. Cool. So that was last week. The debt's not lining up with that, right? Saying we had a good week here. We're $2,000 above margin, yet our debt still went up. Could be due to that being contract jobs, right? Because it's just cash in the bank account, or maybe different expenses that hit last week on the credit card and stuff. But here it's looking like we had a good week. I mean, this is what matters, right? It doesn't matter how we get there. If we work extra hours at a higher charge rate, the margin, what's left over, is what really matters. And we exceeded the plan for last week. So here we got. So let's see. So. Our debt went down by the variance went down by 0.1%. So 54.42 and 63. $63.5. Why are these not lining up? Oh, 52. I had the wrong number in there. All right. So 63.46. The fuck. There we go. All right, so we went down a little bit. We got a little closer on our margin here. We're still 9% behind. So yeah, we got to close this because that's our profit, right? Profit's supposed to be 10%. So unless we close this, we're losing our profit there.
Yeah.
What I never got going as a KPI was the number of estimates we need to send, because this is an easy. Because I need to know like how much of our revenue like is existing and how much we need to book on top of that to hit our goal. Because we don't have like metrics for that. 'Cause we knew that all right, we need to. If we know we win, if on average we win 37% of our estimates for the year, then it's just a numbers game. We know exactly, and we know what sales need to hit. We'd be able to tell, like, all right, we're supposed to send 29 estimates this week, and we only sent 20, and that would be a good metric to gauge as well in terms of the total sales. But I can't get like reliable reports and Source Autopilot on like how much revenue we already have, like recurring, that's set for the year, and then how much we need to add on top, and I need that information in order to create a metric for that. All right. So on that note, picking up on marketing, right? I've been working this week on trying to get the Facebook ads running again. It's been a mess because like our account was like locked, and then we had like an outstanding balance, and then I got some ads running now, and then like the Facebook support's terrible, and I got some ads running now, but they're not like they're like on and they should be running, but they're not like running. So I don't know. I got to contact them. I set up some campaigns here for I set up 3 campaigns for renovation. You haven't seen any of the ads on your phone or anything, have you?
I've not, no.
So I have a campaign for so I uploaded our client list, and then it creates like a lookalike. So they take all the profile, you match all your clients, and they match them with their digital profile on Facebook, and revenue, location, etc. And they try to find people who like are really close match to people who are already our clients. That's the way this like a logarithm works. So I set up one campaign for that. So one campaign for like website visitors for remarketing them. Someone visits our site and bounces off, and then one just for general geo-targeting based on where we work, and then like ages, and I think I put like top 25% of the income earners in the area, and then we'd be able to see, and this is people who submit the estimate request form. So eventually they'll see like, all right, like this campaign's, I don't know why they're not working, but it should show like, all right, like we spend X amount per website submission based on this audience, based on this audience, based on this one, and then whichever one's performing the best, we can put more money towards and pause the other ones, And I use like our ads from the past that perform the best, because we have all that data from there. And I kind of use the same audiences and stuff, the same ad. So anyway, I gotta somehow get in touch with them, see whether they're not running, but they're impossible to get in touch with. So, but these are these like super old pictures, before and afters, but they performed well in the past. So I was just trying to get something up and running, and then revise them later.
Sure.
So that's that. Did you see that email I sent you on the postcard web remarketing? Like with RBS, it did seem like, again, like postcards are hard to measure when they're actually like working, but because people get them and then they don't necessarily call from the postcard, they go online or they just see the name and they get the email, So I don't know. I was doing something for RBS a while back where it was to website visitors. It matches them with their home address and it mails them a postcard. So it's just another way to retarget like leads. People have showed interest and sends them postcards. So I was just thinking other ways that other places we can put money that would be effective for marketing. My brother does like a printed newsletter. He always says it's like been a great resource for him. So instead of, he mails like he's like a consultant that provides him like a template, and he just like punches in his stuff. For example, we put in something about that news coverage we had, check out this and that. But it was like a printed newsletter he's been sending consistently for like a long time to his former clients, and he says it's always worked out well for him. But that's probably a bigger, something to talk about. It's something we can't really throw together probably. But just something to consider. He mails those out and it works for him.
We've been marketing postcards for years, and we did marketing for Malloy, and we've done postcards for other companies. And I've drawn the conclusion that there's no way to track it, number one, right? Unless people respond with the code. So we really don't know what kind of return we're getting on it. So we're just sort of like blindly spending money. I'm convinced that they don't work. It's just my conclusion. And when I get cards, me personally, they go right in the bin, man. I don't even look at them.
Yeah.
And if
We've
I
gotten
was if I
some
would
people.
take a guess, I would say 50% of people do the same thing.
Yeah, some people get the like I remember we had that former client postcard that go out like $100 towards any service. Like that was very limited
Right.
marketing to our former client list. But some people use that, right?
Yep.
Like that was definitely mentioned in the past. But yeah, I agree. Whenever we've looked at like our marketing costs, like those are the most for people who cite. I got a postcard. It was like $1,000 a client versus other channels are like $300 a client, or 250. Um,
Yep.
so it's definitely, but then there's the unmeasurable part. It's not like I wouldn't be the first thing I would do is send out postcards because you can't measure the results very well. Whereas the digital stuff, we know, hey, they filled out this guy, we paid this many people, we showed this many ads, and this many people filled out and requested an estimate. So we know that like that's very measurable.
That's right.
But there's a lot of people funnel through. They'll get the postcard, they see the name, like the billboard, that we got going up. Like people are going to see that, and they're not necessarily going to say they saw a billboard, but they're going to see the billboard, and then maybe they'll see a sign. They'll call from our sign or something. They'll say they saw a sign. So it is difficult to track that. But just throwing different ideas out here. So I threw it in ChatGPT. I said like we have a landscaping company. This is what we do. So just to get some ideas. So I said, what else can we do for marketing? Just to get some ideas out here. We do AdWords, we've got yard signs, door hangers, email marketing, SMS marketing. Not much luck with postcards. We go to networking groups, upsell clients, Facebook ads. And then suggested SEO stuff. I said we already have good reviews. So this is what it said. So they talked about referrals.
That's something we really need to get better on is referrals.
Yeah.
We don't get many at all, man, and we never have, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah. I mean, we could run a campaign like I've seen people do, like, win a Weber grill, refer one client, enter to win a Weber grill, or something like that. I've seen people do that before. They obviously need an incentive to send us referrals. I mean, it's probably not like top of mind. We don't make it top of mind, right? We're not pushing that top of mind. So it's like a bigger thing, but we could run like a one-off campaign, but just something to keep in the back of our head. But yeah, I mean, we have all these great reviews, right? Do you know anyone else that wants our work, right?
Right.
We talked about this, and I do think like that billboard, like I always push, we have that checklist for marketing that some I've picked up throughout the years is like people need incentive and an urgency. So like, and this is what ChatGPT is suggesting too, like a deadline and a promotion. So to push people, because if you're just like, oh, $50 off seating, like, okay, I can, whatever, I'll do it later. But if you have some sort of deadlines on there, it gives some urgency to it, makes them want to act. Yeah, see, time sensitive and scarcity. Okay, we're already targeting, high margin add-ons, right?
Yeah.
Retargeting. So this is the Facebook retargeting. Everyone who goes on your site sees a follow-up ad everywhere. That's what the Facebook will do if I ever get those running. And we're obviously late to the show getting this stuff going. We're just starting to get it going, and it's like very retroactive because we've been seeing low hours and for a long time. We've known we need work for a long time. We just took action. Better late than never, but at least we're taking action now, right? And then so they're talking about quotes you lost or old clients, special campaigns, partner with HOAs, VIP. Yeah, we don't get a lot of HOAs, but those will be like $250,000 per pop, if we ever book one of those. We had that one in the past. VIP maintenance plan. I don't know. What's that?
They're a big pain in the ass. I mean, they may be worth it, but they have to be an ideal client, right? At the same time,
Yeah,
they can't be a check player who wants to pay whenever they want.
they're a pain in the ass in their own way. They take a lot of maintenance in terms of like you get a lot of people bitching, and they're not even like they're just part of when we had the HOA, we just got a lot of people just reaching out about random complaints, because you got 80 houses in one pop, and
every HOA I've met with, I go there and they complain about their current or previous landscaper. Like all I get is complaints. Oh, this guy's doing this guy did that, and I'm like, man, like what are you going to do to us?
Yeah, they're tough, and they they want a good deal, and there's a lot of risk. It's like doing like a big hardscaping. There's like a lot of risk, a lot of reward. If we get like one or two big ones, it's just like it's hard to estimate because they're such large properties, and it's easy to get
Right.
burned on because you're also trying to be competitive.
Yep.
So if you underestimate and you have a tight margin, it's a lot easy. You could end up in a position like we did where you're losing money on this giant work job, which is no good.
No bueno.
And then yeah, branded freebies. I thought this was interesting. Seed packets. I've heard of the idea before where you attach like your name, like, hey, here's some free seed. I don't know. But anyway, this is what they suggested. We already got like a pretty large area. We could expand where we drive to, but then obviously you have more unbillable time. But there's obviously more work the further you go. Or the option is dropping the prices, doing more work. But I don't like that model. I think it's better where we are. So any takeaways on that outside of doing the Facebook marketing? Are there any other ideas anything else? I mean, we turned up the AdWords, right? Is there anything else we could bang out quickly? The good thing with the AdWords and the Facebook, you just turn them on. The other stuff takes a little more work to get going, right? So we got a zillion door hangers, which we're kind of doing instead of postcards, right? Which I think is better too, because we give the guys work and they're going on the doors and not in the mailboxes.
Right.
Anything else you think we kind of should be doing to drum up a little more sales?
No, I think we're touching on everything. I'm going to send out a former client email campaign, maybe 2 emails. I'll set up a little automation. I'm going to send a text message today for people who don't have aeration overseating yet to clients.
Yeah.
And I'm going to create aeration overseating door hanger for Jack so he can door hang neighbors when he goes and do jobs.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I think we're doing everything right at the moment.
I'm gonna try to pull up that. I have the cost per lead. Hold on. Cost per client. 855. So yeah, this is for. Okay, so we didn't do it for last year. We have it for 2023. I don't know why this wasn't done. Actually, it's on the recurring task list, but you can see here. So this is like number of clients we got, how much we spent on that campaign, and then the cost per lead and the cost per client, based on what people are citing. But I mean, in 2023, we got 17 leads that quoted that they saw the postcard, and then we got 8 clients that cited postcard. So it's $1,700 per client. Outside of the people who obviously probably got the postcard, went on Google, because there's like all these online search, 441 leads, right? Everyone's saying, "Oh, I found you online. I found you online." Because that's where people go to get your phone number, right? So online search, we spent 18 grand in 2023, and it was $128 per client, $41 a lead. So you can't. I mean, postcards do work, but they're, in terms of measurability, what we can measure. People said, "I got your postcard. That's why I called." It was $1,700 per client. So obviously we get more revenue here, but at a cost. We get 8 new clients out of it, right? And what are our clients? I haven't run that report in a while either, but like the average revenue per client, I think last I checked it was like $1,500 per client. So we're paying $1,700 per client unless they stay more than a year. We're not going to make money on them if we do it that way, Well, really more than that, because they do $1,700 revenue, half its cost. So it'd really take like double that to actually break even on that client. So, but I think it's just some of the stuff that's or if you throw up like a radio ad or something like that, or a TV ad, like for example, that it costs us nothing, but that news coverage, right? Like, yeah, some people said they saw us online, but a lot saw the news, and that's why they called us, right? If we were to track that directly, say we got like 10 leads out of it, but that those people, like everyone in the state freaking saw our name. And now when they search on Google, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I saw those guys," and they say, "Oh, I found you online search," right? Yep. So it's not as measurable, so it's harder to justify versus stuff like this. But it does generate work. It's just that it does generate work. It's just harder to measure. Because I'm sure we got more than 8 people who called because of the postcard from from what we sent out.
Right.
All right. Well, given all that. I mean, I'll keep working on the Facebook ads. maybe this newsletter is something we consider in the future. Those postcards they're so freaking expensive, you know. It's like, you know, $1 or $2 each person that we mail them out to, and we can't directly justify spending that, right?
Exactly. That's my biggest hang up with it.
Yeah, we can't in confidence be like, oh yeah, totally worth it, right? Because this is all we can see in confidence. It's like, oh, $700 a client. That's all we can really see. It's interesting because they convert a lot more. This is the conversion rate here. So like, you know, half the people who say this also from a postcard end up booking with us. So they're stronger leads. One out of every 2 people get a postcard book, right? Or from what our data says. And these people, the yard signs are really low. And we stopped doing Craigslist because we barely got any leads from it last year. Turned that off. But like yard signs are kind of crap leads, right? We book 1 out of every 5 of them. You got to do 5 estimates to sell 1 yard sign lead. And I don't even know how much revenue they're generating. You know, maybe they're smaller clients too. Maybe it's just lawn mowing. Maybe book them 1 out of every 5 and just getting lawn mowing. Whereas these guys
I feel like yard sign clients are pretty decent, to be
Are
honest.
they? Okay. Yeah, you just got to do 5 more estimates to get 1 job out of it. But the cost, and this is the cost per client. This is just the cost of the yard signs because we're not measuring the time to put those out. There's some hidden labor in there, right? So probably it's costing us more than this, but obviously, it's cheaper than $1,700, right? People said they saw a yard sign, and also there's also just like the postcards. There's an unmeasurable benefit here that everyone sees our name. Like they're freaking everywhere, right? So definitely some people online search are buried in here too. So this is probably inflated as well. So anyway, yeah, like half people who saw a truck book, you know, we're in their neighborhood. That makes sense. Social is a lower conversion rate too, like 1 out of every 4 who found us on social media. That was 2 years ago. All right, so yeah, we'll try to get the Facebook ads going, right? Make them as efficient as possible, and again, we'll just roll with that, get the AdWords going, and ramp up the door hangers, and yeah, take it from there.
Sounds like a plan, man.
Okay. Before I get into Rosie, because it's the least important in the probably longer conversation, how are we doing on time?
I've got a call with Steeplechase at 10:30. Be nice if I could get a few minutes before that.
45 minutes. All right, so let's wrap up this by 10, and then that'll give us how much time with RBS?
Maybe half an hour.
Okay, that should be sufficient, I hope. All right, so let's wrap this up by 10. So Rosie, you're not liking it.
I called it. You know, I'm always skeptical of AI. I called it. I was really impressed with it. You just have to go slow with it. And I know a lot of people, they just want to like rush through things. So, you know, it can create hiccups. But more concerning is, you know, I'm wondering how many people is turned off, and maybe enough where we would have had steady work toward the end of the season. We don't know. If they're turned off 1 out of every 10 leads, then, you know, that's we're missing valuable opportunities. So current clients are complaining about it.
Well, let me just explain to you how it was set up and how it is set up now, and then we'll talk about how we want it set up. So previously, I had it. We're just trying to take the burden off of Arij. Even when Arij was working, we were having new leads go straight to the AI answering. Which you're right. Maybe that wasn't the best plan, but that's what we were doing. So new leads come in. The first impression is some AI person. You know, maybe not the best move. So then we changed that, right? We changed it to now during the day, calls go to Arij. And then when we're closed or Arij doesn't pick up, they're going to the AI. So now new leads are only going there if we don't pick up. The problem is, I think, if we're going to, you know, so the question is, do we get rid of it completely or we just are very specific about what gets sent there? Because right now, when I looked into it, when you mentioned it, and the calls for everyone after hours are going to the AI, like instead of voicemail. So like for existing clients too. And really, we intended the AI to capture leads, new leads. But our existing clients are also getting set up with AI where it's like, hey, you know, how long have you, you know, when maybe they're just calling about a billing issue and they're like, hey, what's your address? What's your phone number? You know, what are you interested in a quote on? So we're sending everyone there after hours. So like for an existing client, that'd be annoying because they probably just want to like be like, hey, you know, you guys missed a spot on my lawn, or, you know, whatever. So if we keep it, we could get rid of it completely, send everyone to voicemail, or we could just set it so new leads after hours go to the AI.
Hmm.
Or we just get rid of it overall and we just send everyone to voicemail. Or, you know, see, people don't like voicemail either all the time either. When you're just trying to get shit done yesterday, I was thinking about this when I was just trying to get shit done. I was trying to find like a property appraiser, like a real estate appraiser. And I was calling on Google, right? Exactly like someone would do for us. They're on Google. I'm like, all right, who has some reviews? And one guy has like 1 5-star review. I don't know if I want to work with him. One guy's like 43 reviews. He's like 4.3-star ratings. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna work. Let me call this guy. I just want to get shit done quickly. I just want to find someone not super particular about it. I call. I get their voicemail. I'm kind of like, you want to get shit done now. So like people want to get shit done now. Want to talk to someone, get it done, move on to the next thing. So people in that mindset who are ready to go, especially when your grass is a foot tall, or you're just busy and you want to get shit done, which is usually like last minute. People want to talk to someone, get it done, be done with it. So they want to talk to someone and pick up the phone, process it, get the quote set up, right? So if they just get voicemail, they might go to the next person, because I went and then I was like, oh, it's annoying. And I kind of and I wasn't that particular who I worked with. I just wanted to get it done. So I went to the next guy, who did pick up their phone. So that's the downside of voicemail. And that's why we kind of had like the answering service, that got really expensive though, too. The answering service, which they'd be able to talk to an actual person, but they wouldn't actually do anything either. But they're probably not going to hang up on them. Right, they'll probably give them their information, but they still don't really get anything done.
Yeah, they're more likely to hang up on the AI. So then there's the other people, right, who say maybe they don't want, like you have your crop of people who want to talk to somebody, they don't like voicemail. But then there's
Yeah.
people who call and don't want to talk to AI and would probably rather leave a voicemail. And I think, we don't know the numbers on that, but it could be 50-50.
Well, I think if I called and I was like, I want to work with 855 Airlines, they have a good reputation. I was referred by someone, and I was patient and I had confidence they'll get back to me because a lot of people won't. So if I have this whole list of options, right, and I'm like, I want to work with 855 Airlines, they look great, then I would probably leave a voicemail, and then like I would expect they get back to me, right? Like I would hope they get back to me because they have a good reputation. But if I was just if I didn't know anything about anyone, like. Are they going to get back to me? I might just call. If I just need something done quickly, I might just call the next guy on the list.
Right.
And even I don't know if like an answering service would solve that. I don't know if I would have felt better yesterday if I talked to someone like, oh, they'll give you a call. Maybe if they told me they'll give me a call back, I would have given my information because I didn't even leave a voicemail. I just hung up. But if it was a real person, I probably would have given them my information at least and be like, hey, here's my phone number. I might have still called the next person on the list and seen if they picked up, and then when they call me back, I would have been like, oh, I'm all set. Thanks.
Funny story about Rosie. So we had this one client who was a super pain in the butt and they were a complainer, and her and her father called, and he was obviously foreign. And they went on honestly, Matt, like a 7-minute rant. I think that the call was 7 minutes. And Rosie was like, at one point was like, I just want to help you with your issue. And then they were like talking over her, and she said, I just want to help you with your issue. And they realized finally that Rosie was AI. And you could hear them like talking, oh, we're not even talking to somebody. I want to talk to someone. But it took them like 7 minutes to realize it, dude. It was so funny.
That's great, actually, because it saved her 7 minutes.
Oh, totally. She sent me the call, but thank God she didn't fucking have to waste her time.
You know what I think is part of the recent problem too? Because is it a recent thing that people are bitching about AI, or is it or has it been going on all year?
It's been since we implemented it. So
okay,
it raises red flags when your current clients are complaining about it, right? Then you start to like think about leads who are turned off by it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a concern, man. And ultimately, like one day, everything will be AI, just like everything is automated now. And people used to complain about automations, but my kid's school is automated, my doctor's appointments are automated, my car repairs are automated, everything's automated. So it's like it's a norm. Maybe next year we can do it and not have to worry about turning people off. I don't know, but I feel like it's risky right now.
Pissed off with. Don't you get pissed off when you call the friggin' 800 menus and you still call them because like who else are you gonna work with, right? We call it Chase Bank or something, Bank of America. You go through all these freaking menus and get hung up on, but people still work with them because how many choices do you have, right? And every bank's like that.
You can expect that from them, though. Like, you can expect to call a bank and not talk to somebody. Like, you're not going to talk to somebody. It's going to take you 3 or 4 minutes before you can even press 0 to talk to somebody. So that's the norm there. You expect that. People don't expect to call a landscape company and talk to an AI. That's my point.
Well, part of the issue is, too, I think that, like, when the calls were going, even during business hours to the AI, there was always an option to transfer the call to a person. But because now it's only after hours. There's no one to transfer the call to because no one's working. No one's going to pick up the phone.
Mhm.
So now someone get up pissed. Like eventually Rosie would be like, hey, I'll transfer you. And then so they're starting to get pissed off and then they get transferred to a Rege. Whereas now there's no transfer option because they're calling, there's no one to transfer to. We're closed or she's on the other line. I'm not going to forward them in a circle, just to go back to Rosie again. So I had to, when I made that change, to have only Rosie pick up after hours, I had to get rid of the transfer option.
So are we currently doing that now? Is she only answering after hours, or is she answering when a Reach can't answer the phone?
Both, I think. I'd have to check.
We should have it go to voicemail during office hours, right? Because people leave me voicemails every day, and nobody ever says, "Oh, I can leave a fucking voicemail." Like they're okay with it. They don't get back. And they do. They leave me voicemails. And maybe we should just have Rosie. It's nice to have her after hours, and maybe she can even say, "This is our after hours answering service," so they understand.
Yeah, we can change that script. Yeah, but I think a lot of it is expectations. So like, if there's a voicemail, it's like, please leave a message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like, that's not clear. If there's an expectation, which has always worked well, as long as you get back. I always say if you call before noon, we'll get back to you the same day. If you call afternoon, we'll get back to you with by noon the next day. Because like you may not get to it, right? But if that expectation is set, then people are a lot more patient. But if there's no, it's just like everything, right? You gotta have expectations. So if it's just like a ghost, like, oh yeah, we'll give you an estimate at some point, like you might go to the next kind of list. So it's like, hey, you're gonna hear back by the end of the day. Like I'll wait, So maybe we should change the expectations there. I like the idea of changing the Rosie script to say this after hours answering. We're open. If you want to talk to someone, call us. Between 8:30 and 3:30. And then if they want
they'd be much more inclined to deal with it, knowing that it's an after-hours service and somebody's going to get back to them tomorrow, a live person.
Okay. Do you want to try making that change first before we axe it all together?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
I'm glad we had this conversation.
I'm just going to the bathroom. I'll be right back. One thing I wanted to touch on our last 3 minutes was that property. It's getting closer to be a real thing. You still got to check it out. This is actually a nice picture of it, and it's all. What's that?
Let's do it Wednesday the 10th.
Okay. All right, I'll reach out. I hate, like I said, the guy is just going to waste like an hour. You got to help me get out of there because I don't know how to leave.
That's fine. I'll block my calendar and give myself enough time to know that we're going to go there and probably spend like an hour talking.
So this is the lot. This is a good picture. I'm glad you sent it because it doesn't look like this, all fucking overgrown. But you can see, like, just looking at this, it looks perfect, right? Also, we want to. I was looking at Second Beach. They have those offices that are built in shipping containers. They come with windows, doors, AC. So we could just stamp one of those in there if we had to. But this is the enclosed area where I thought we could just, the open area, we can enclose this, make that an office. Then we have a big garage. We have our shipping containers. We get more shipping containers. We got blocks here. All this space back here. It's a lot of space. This is the road, This is the property lines. It's tons of space, but it's just filled with shit now. The thing is, this guy's pretty stubborn, right? So like it's worth about 440 from everything I can see. I'm gonna dig into commercial places, but like residential, same number of bedrooms, square footage, lot size, it's worth like 440. The guy told me he had appraised for 570. So I asked him for the appraisal, and he sends me a Bank of America screenshot that shows a 3-bedroom house worth 480. So I'm like, what? Like, where are you getting 570 from? So then, the bigger problem is like, and the numbers work for us even at 570. So like, I'm not gonna tell him that, but I'd be willing to pay 570. But I don't want to overpay. I want to pay more than the property's worth, right? So but I also don't want to scare him off. So I'm like playing it lightly, because I don't want him to piss him off, and because he thinks it's worth this much. I'm not trying to like
treading so lightly on this.
He doesn't want to sell it anymore, He doesn't want to work with us, which he's a tough guy like that. So he obviously gets all these people on his blacklist in his life. I don't want to be in his blacklist. I'm like dancing around it, trying to offend him, Right. But the bigger problem is that, and I didn't even think of this, my friend was like, I talked to the bank, and they're like, well, if it doesn't appraise for 570, they're not going to give you a loan. They're not going to write a loan because they're not going to, if we were to foreclose on it, they can't get their money back. It's only worth 440, and they lend us 570 for it. They don't want this asset. It's theirs at the end of the day, not ours until we pay off the mortgage, So anyway, I told him that. I'm like, look, I'll pay you 450. Like, you'd be paying 6% realtor fees anyway, and I'm paying you more than it's worth, and you're not paying any fees on it. And he countered, and he's like, I'll take 500 and a year of free rent, so I can, so basically he wants to occupy this house for a year, which is a value of about 20 grand. So he's really like countering like 520. It's still only worth 440. But the only difference is the comps that I'm looking at, they're not commercially zoned. Like you can't run a business out of them. They're a house on that lot size. This is like a mixed use. So it has, you can run commercial operations. What's that?
Would we have to get a variance?
No, we're going the variance. I'm just saying that the value.
Sorry, give me one sec. Sorry, give me one sec.
Yep. Yeah, so the only difference in the comps I'm looking at that show value 440 is that they're not commercially zoned. So I'm gonna research some commercial properties for comps and see if that makes sense. But I'm still kind of thinking on it. But it's getting more real. You know, everything else is all in the clear. So.
You know what? I love it, man. Schottner is giving me a bad feeling. I feel like he's either going to keep jacking our rent or eventually throw us out for some bullshit. He's got a real bad attitude with us, man. Like he yells at our guys. He's just a shitty landlord, you know? I hate it.
It's been nice to not be under someone's thumb, right? Could do what we want.
Or even worse, to not get like respected by the person you pay a fair amount of money to. Like, you know, that's I'll deal with you being under somebody's thumb, but like have some decency, dude. Be nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that wraps up 855. You want to switch gears?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool.